Aloha. Welcome to the Mr.G podcast. Today is February 14th, 2024, Valentine's Day. I hope all of you are having a wonderful Valentine's Day. Wherever you're listening, watching, the Mr. G podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and of course, Spotify. You can watch episodes in their entirety at twitter.com/Gregory Brandt, BRANDT. So, Valentine's Day isn't the biggest holiday for me. It is an invented holiday that's only been around not too long. I think there was versions of it going back hundreds, possibly thousands of years. I'm not sure on that. But I do know that its most recent incarnation is relatively new within the last 100 years. And even though I'm not big on Valentine's Day, the woman I'm dating, beautiful English girl, we recently took a break. If you're out there, Jamie, I know you're still watching. I know you love me, still love you too. But I'm not the most attentive boyfriend at that time. And Valentine's Day is a great example of that because every woman really considers Valentine's Day very important. And if they say that it's not, they're not telling you the truth. And one thing that is important to me is women. Women have been the most important demographics for me in my life, in particular mothers, the ones that have treated me with kindness and the ones that have really seen me for who I am, my true colors. 85% of my viewers on TikTok are women, according to the analytics, and the tens of thousands of dollars I've received in cat food donations, probably 95%, 90% at least are women as well. I have great women friends like Melissa and Irene. I used today to make each of them a homemade Valentine. I was able to deliver it to my friend Irene. Shout out to a great friend Irene. And Valentine's Day, it's important to acknowledge your friends, and so you can really see some good in it. However, there is a dark side, and that crossed my mind today. I didn't have a lot planned. Like I said, it's not a huge day for me, just a couple deliveries, and I wanted to deliver that Valentine to my friend. So I was just going to come in and out of the apartment, but I had a feeling that some of the people, it's unprecedented territory. I am not famous, but I do upload content every day, and some of the people in this vicinity are very overzealous to that fact and watch me or stand outside and realize I make content and think that they're somehow involved in Valentine's Day. Maybe it's breeded into the system so somebody that's new to this country doesn't understand. When I was growing up, it was a very secular type holiday. In elementary school, and there's two big parties, the Christmas party and the Valentine's Day party. Maybe it's changed, now that things are more secular, like I said, but that was always a big deal on Valentine's Day. And you give, the whole class Valentines. If you have 30 people in your class, you usually have 30 Valentines, and each Valentine usually had a candy with it, unless their kids' parents were cheap or something. But generally, you write a little message to each, and everybody's like required to give everybody a Valentine in the class. So maybe that's makes it like it's a more universal holiday. But when you look at it, attractive women and women in general across the board, today is just a regular weekday. It's not an official holiday, and people still have to go to work and people still have to go to school. So if you look at most women, just about all women on today, think of the number of awkward conversations every female office worker is having to have in the office today. Think of every high school girl that has so much on her mind already, and she has to go to school and have all these random men, or random boys in high school and random men in the office sending flowers, giving Valentines, being inappropriate, looking at them awkwardly. You really have to respect women and what women go through in this life. And women and men are two totally different species. They couldn't be more different. And I saw something on Twitter earlier that said, oh, men do 90% of the construction jobs. Men do 90% of this job, this hard job, 90% of the oil digging, I'm trying to think of manly jobs, 90% of the truck driving, this and that. But women do a lot of other things and have to put up with a lot more having to deal with men. And you can just look at crime statistics. Men are more than 10 times more likely to be a criminal than women. So you really have to tap your hat off to women. They've always been on my side. Like I said, my best group. And today it just made that more clear. Like I said, I just had not a busy day, just getting a couple deliveries. But during that time, some of the individuals that live around here thought it was an opportunity to come out and follow me into the parking lot, or just not take their eyes off me and just like try to interact with me. And it's just like, I can't, I'm a very private person. Yes, I create content like millions of other people. And yes, that's my main source of income as well, but it has nothing to do with any of the people that live around me. And I've never initiated a conversation or looked for a conversation or any sort of interaction. And it's at the point where I'm just like, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. Like it's ridiculous. So I don't know what else to say about that, except uh, we might live in a public society, but that doesn't mean that everybody has the right to interact with everybody else. And me being a male, I'm not, given the same, me being an attractive male, I'm not given the same privileges as an attractive woman, where an attractive woman would, the police or whoever would have already put their foot down, like, hey, you better leave this woman alone. She's just walking through her parking lot. She doesn't want anything to do with you. You need to accept that fact and move on with your own life. Uh, just because somebody creates content, that doesn't dismiss their right to privacy. And I'm a very private person. I appreciate my privacy. Anytime, you shouldn't ever be allowed to stand outside somebody's apartment and like listen. And despite if they're a content creator or whatever, it's extremely awkward. And I am a teacher, but I'm not giving free lessons here. I've probably taught some of these people around here more than they were that I ever desired to. And as far as that goes, this generation of young men there are more virgin men in this generation, Gen Z, than in any other previous generation. What is the reason for that? What is the reason there are so many incels with Gen Z? The next generation after Gen Z is supposed to be Gen Alpha. Okay, if you're anything like your predecessors, it's going to be a joke. You're not Gen Alpha, you're Gen Beta. Okay, now in my experience with women, which is very lengthy, I've known and I've dated many beautiful women and not so beautiful women. All women are beautiful. Okay, let's leave it at that. But what I can tell you, the number one mistake that I made in my teens and that most men make is trying too hard. Okay, so the worst thing that could happen in the United States is a generation of virgin men. It's not necessarily the case with the women, but a few select men are having sex with all the women as far as statistics go. And if you look into this, what are the reasons why? Sociologists say it has a lot to do with Gen Z growing up with social media from the time that they can even remember. And so they're on Instagram and Facebook and seeing this idolized lifestyle that they think that is obtainable, which is not even, which is not even which is fictional. It's somebody putting out themselves in their best light. So that's not obtainable. You have them raised on car commercials where you get this car, you ride off into the sunset. And there are car companies willing to take advantage of their naiveness, their naivety, and lease them these cars without outrageous interest rates. So, you're paying, $50,000 when it's all said and done for a Kia Metro or whatever the cheapest cars are out, a Honda Accord. I don't know. I'm not in the market for cheap cars. I can tell you a G-Wagon runs about $200,000 for the bulletproof model. And I can tell you a Cybertruck runs a little less at about 150,000. But I'm never going to be in the market for small, cheap cars because I will never buy one, even if I don't have money, which I don't now. But if you don't have money, so you can still be smart about things. So this generation, Gen Z, that is started dating and is in college now, millennials have already graduated. 95% of all the undergraduates at the University of Texas at least in the 2005 year, were under the age of 25. So right now, the youngest millennials are in their late 20s. So very few of them are in a university setting. So you have this generation of young men, Gen Z, and young women of Gen Z, and their college age and high school age. And some of them have recently graduated college, and they're known as, having awkward social skills, um, awkward conversations, things that would lead to men not getting many dates with women. One thing that's been on my side is having a high social intelligence and great communication skills. Generally, women are the ones with the communication skills. When I went to school at the University of Texas at the School of Journalism, I was probably 80–90% female. And you see that in media today, it's generally female because they're the best at communication. Um, so not having those skills to talk to women, uh, teamed up with trying too hard to create this idolized version of yourself that they see on Instagram or Facebook or in car commercials. You combine that with low social skills, low communication skills, and you have a generation of virgin incels. Not all of them, obviously, but if you look at the statistics, a few select men are having sex with the most beautiful, or with not with all women, because all women are beautiful. And that's an important thing to say on Valentine's Day for my community of 85% women. But for the few men hearing the sound of my voice, if you're looking to date women, I can tell you for a fact, the very best time of the year to look for a date is between February 2nd and February 14th. Women are the most flirty during those 2 weeks, from Groundhog Day until Valentine's Day. The day after Valentine's Day, good luck getting a date then. But the 2 weeks leading up to it, I can tell you from the offices I've worked in, I can tell you from the times I've been in for the 7 years, the 7 Valentine's years that I've been in school, uh, being around multiple women and apparently being very desirable towards them. I've noticed that the best time to get into a relationship is between February 2nd and February 14th. That's the best, short amount of time, 2 weeks. The holiday season is known as the cuffing season, and it's the same principle. Women are more perceptive towards conversation and dating around that time of year compared to other times of year. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the next generation. Gen Alpha are going to get their driver's license in a few years and start dating themselves. So we'll see if they are as less successful as their predecessors. But thanks again for listening. We're going to do a short episode today. I've already had a lot to do, and I'm going to do a couple of different Bible readings. You can check out those Bible readings at Gregory Brandt Reads and Teaches on YouTube. This episode in its entirety, twitter.com/Gregory Brandt, BRANDT. Everybody have a nice Valentine's Day. And from me and all my kitties, love ya.